Hey there, are you familiar with victim consciousness? Did you know that it's part of the drama triangle? If not, keep watching to learn more. Hey, my name is Rebecca, your vibe mentor, here to help you raise your vibration so you can live your best life. I want to talk to you today about not only victim consciousness, but the total drama triangle. So the victim is part of a triangle, which means there are three roles. There is the victim, the persecutor, and also the rescuer. Now, if you've ever played the role of the victim, you've also likely oscillated between the other two roles as well. So each of the individuals caught up in this drama triangle will oscillate between the different roles unknowingly, and sometimes in even the same dynamic or conversation. It can be very tricky to figure out. Unfortunately, it is a almost addictive habit of behavior that a lot of people get caught in, and if you're not aware of it, it's very difficult to get out of. The good news is it's easy to get out of when you're aware of it, you can spot it, and you know how to shift your approach and perspective. So the victim, as everybody knows, kind of has a poor me attitude. Sometimes it is originally derived from an unfortunate situation in which the person was a victim, but that behavior can perpetuate itself. And to start to recognize it, you need to notice when you might feel fear, helplessness, hopelessness. You reject others in more of a way of seclusion, a lot of complaining, and sometimes even manipulating. It's a feeling of, I can't do this on my own, poor me. Sometimes people will even say they never liked me, or they always do that to me, or why me? It's a feeling of inferiority, and essentially it's avoiding responsibility. Now, the persecutor will often criticize and judge. She hurts people, punishes people, and usually almost always blames people. Blaming and judging are the two biggest characteristics of behavior that is coming from this role. It's all your fault, or you always do XYZ is going to be one of the most common statements you're going to hear from someone that is playing that role. And it often comes from a place of superiority. And keeping in mind that most people who play any of these roles are coming from a place of pain and a place of not understanding how to work with the feelings that they have or how to get their needs met. So none of this is to say that one role is better than the other. They're all, unfortunately, disempowering roles. And so that's why we need to be aware of them so that we can exit this drama triangle. The third person, while seemingly sometimes less negative, still plays an unfortunate role, because as a rescuer, especially when we're rescuing without someone's request to be rescued, we're actually inhibiting growth, and we're hurting them by not allowing them to help themselves. A lot of times a rescuer will rush in to take care of someone, and it kind of delivers this sense of, you're not capable, you're not able, I need to help you because you're not able to help yourself. And that, unfortunately, is damaging as well. And a lot of times they will help from a place of, again, superiority, to feel that feeling of self-worth. And of course, with all of my videos, everything that I speak about is something that I have lived. So I have been the persecutor, I have been the victim, I have been the rescuer, and I have learned how to exit that drama triangle. So that's why I'm here for you today. So what's interesting is no role is healthy. And the reason that it's unhealthy or undesirable to be in this dynamic is because we've given our power away, and it's very cyclical. You'll end up just going from position to position, and nothing will ever resolve itself. Oftentimes, if you find that you primarily operate in the victim consciousness, you're going to draw into you persecutors and rescuers, and same with the other two positions. So we want to draw into us people who are healthy, whole, and complete, and who can make us better people, not who perpetuate negative cycles, or cycles where we give our power away. So in order to exit the dynamic, the first thing we have to do is take responsibility for everything that we are experiencing. Everything in our lives, every experience that we experience, is because of our internal environment. So it's as within, so without. We need to remember that we are creators, and we are such masterful creators, especially our higher selves, that we will create these types of situations to help teach us and show us where we need to work on things, where we need to grow. It will shine that mirror on the issues that we need to work on. And that is the beauty of this, is because we're such beautiful, amazing creators, we can create a positive and healthy dynamic, and we can put an end to this unhealthy dynamic. So as long as we remain in a place of blaming others or helplessness, we will continue to perpetuate the past. There is no escaping without accepting responsibility, unfortunately. So when we start to own our part in it, we can take our power back, and that's when we can exit the dynamic. So if you're primarily in the victim mode, the first thing you need to do is realize that you did create the situation. While it may seem like someone else victimized you, that is partially true, but it happened because of your internal environment. Maybe it was your lack of boundaries. Maybe it was your belief that you are always a victim. Our minds are powerful creators, and so we drew that into us, and we have to accept that responsibility. That is the only way to get out and to prevent it from happening again. So the first thing we need to start by doing is consistently and kindly upfront asking for what we need. And we know as victims, we can get resentful if we don't ask for what we need, and that builds up in the past, or I'm sorry, in the internal environment. So we need to start asking for what we need, and we need to have strong enough, firm enough, assertive boundaries to say, I as an individual deserve to have my needs met, and this is how I would like them to be met. Of course, that's not quite the language you should use, especially if you're in a romantic relationship. You're going to need to approach it very kindly and softly, and to say, honey, I don't feel right in this situation. I feel that I'm not getting the freedom that I need. I need to be able to take some time away and recuperate. And I would really appreciate it if maybe we could work on a day or two a week that works for you, that you could watch the kids so I could have some time away, or something to that effect, where we're very kindly asking for what we need, because it's not our partner's fault that they don't understand what we need. They're not mind readers, and it's not right to expect them to be. So we really need to understand that it's our responsibility to ask for what we need. We need to say no to things that we don't want to do. No is a complete sentence, and we have the right. Everyone not only has the right, but absolutely should have boundaries. And if there's something that doesn't work for you, you have that right to say no, and that needs to be respected on the other side as well. No one is going to come to save you, and that's definitely something that I had to learn the hard way. We are the only saviors coming to save ourselves, and so until we start to take responsibility for what we've experienced and what we've created and what we're going to create going forward, we're going to continue to repeat that cycle. So there is no one coming to save you other than yourself, and you are an extraordinarily capable, creative, beautiful being that is very, very able to save yourself. So it should not necessarily be a difficult thing to process. If you are currently in the persecutor role, you have to realize that the dynamic for blaming others and refusing to take responsibility for your environment is what's going to perpetuate that cycle. When we refuse to take responsibility, we have given our power away again, and we cannot change things if it's not within our control. So if we're constantly saying that everyone else is our problem, then we've given our power away to those people. And that means we cannot exit the dynamic. So in order to exit the dynamic, we have to take responsibility, and we absolutely have to stop blaming other people. 99.999% of the time, it's no one else's fault but your own, and you have to own that. Otherwise, again, and I'll just keep saying it, the past will continue to repeat itself. And if you're not happy with where you're at and you're looking to make changes, you absolutely must own where you are. You cannot blame other people and expect change. We have to be honest with ourselves, and the mind is tricky. The mind is, again, an incredibly powerfully creative being in and of itself, and it will create stories and it will tell you why you're justified in blaming other people, but you have to partner with your higher self, your divine source of truth, to really see with clear eyes what the truth of the matter is. And then we have to just refuse to criticize others going forward, and own our creative abilities and start to create something positive. So recognizing that blaming everyone else is the problem requires that we refrain from doing that at all ever going forward. And then finally, if we've fallen into the rescuer role, we have to start asking people for permission. If we see someone that needs help, we have to ask if they want our help. And we also need to be able to give ourselves that sense of self-worth instead of looking for it externally. So if you find that you are helping to compensate for a self-worth issue, then we need to give ourselves that self-love and that constant reminder that you are worthy, you are enough, with or without these external events. And the biggest issue with this dynamic in general is just that we are approaching life with inaccurate perception, that our minds are such beautiful, powerful entities. I'm not sure we should call them beings, but devices, creative gifts, and we are wasting them. We are miscreating with untrue perception. And so really everything starts with the mind. Everything is mind, and we need to be at one mind with our divinity and truth. Just checking my notes. Otherwise we're going to keep recreating the past if we don't use our God-given creative abilities for the right thing. So again, there's nobody coming to save you. Nothing external is going to come fix all your problems. It's not anybody else's fault. The only thing that is going to change this dynamic and start to change your future is if you start to look internally at how you created these things and how you can stop that perpetual habit going forward. So the real work starts with your mind. We've got to get the mind right, because as within, so without. And if you can get your mind under control, you can get the rest under control, and everything else will fall in place. So sending much love, my friends. Namaste.